Do you know that quote that says that if you sharpen an axe for 6 hours, you're going to be able to cut the tree in four, meaning much faster than if you didn't sharpen the axe beforehand? Well, what if you just sharpen the axe and never cut the tree? What if you sharpen the axe for 10 hours or 20? Or you just keep sharpening the axe because it feels safer. Have you felt like that sometimes? Well, I feel like that myself a lot. And that's certainly an issue a lot of people like us share. We tend to seek that feeling of safety, of feeling productive, by just being perfectly prepared to get that illusion that we are certain that we're going to achieve that result that we want to achieve someday when we finally decide to take action. Okay? You've been preparing for weeks, maybe years, but this isn't productivity. It's nervous system. It's fueled by fear in a way, and an attachment towards that desire of certainty, but not appreciating variety, uncertainty. That is in everything that we do. It's also fun, and we need uncertainty to actually take action without actually knowing what will happen, because without risk, there are not great results. So, how are we going to solve this? Because it's not a thought process, it's a nervous system process. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to run an experiment on myself to basically shift that, not in weeks or after long therapy sessions, but ideally to shift it efficiently and create new neuroassociations on my brain. I haven't done that yet specifically for this issue, so I'm going to basically document it. And first I'm going to give you the framework. Okay, so what we're going to talk in this video is first basically who am I and why can I actually give you a bit of help in this issue. Then we're going to talk a little bit about what is the problem that we're having to really understand how bad is it, because it's pretty bad. And third, what is a solution? What is the solution that will basically take this issue from the root out? Because oftentimes we use thought to try to analyze our way out of these things, but it's not a thought process. It's a nervous system process. It's a body process. Okay, it's a conditioning process, and that's what we need to focus on. And after that, we're going to have a part two that is going to be another video that we'll record later. That is going to be much more focused on me recording myself doing the actual exercise that will recondition my brain, my nervous system, to associate a lot of pleasure on actually taking that axe and cutting that tree, and a lot of pain on being so obsessed on preparation. Okay, so basically I'm not someone right now that is expert on all of this. I'm super enthusiastic about, for example, Tony Robbins' work, neuroassociation, all of these things that is related with neuro-linguistic programming, and actually finding these shortcuts that will allow us to change our instincts into actually not having to push our way through willpower, but also actually feel pulled, feeling like pulled at our drive that is natural for us to take the actions that we need to take to achieve those dreams that we actually want authentically, to be aligned in our whole areas of our holistic global life, and to actually take massive high performing action without it feeling that it's a matter of willpower, but from a place of abundance, of true power. So, for a lot of years, my whole life probably, I've been struggling with this thing of being too fixated about having the perfect system, the perfect foundation, the perfect preparation to then being able to actually tackle or to take that action that I want to take. But I spin in circles, and I have been doing a lot of times, but I'm someone that actually do my best to be conscious of what I'm doing, to be aware of what I'm doing. I'm not there yet to the point that actually don't do it, but I'm very conscious of the problem, and I'm starting to glimpse to see the solutions, and I really want to share with you and to show you how I do my best attempt using neuroassociative and neuroconditioning tools to shift from the root out this issue on myself. I will document it and hopefully it will help you. Okay, that's the goal. Cool. So my actually tendency of being so obsessive for preparation, and also the desire that I have of basically reclaiming my own power into taking massive action, is what actually qualifies me to show you, at least document to you, my transformation and to help you do it yourself too. Now, what is the issue? What is basically the pain that we have and what is so bad? So, you know everything about this issue yourself. I know that from the bottom of your heart, you know that you spend too much time focusing on the question, and not a lot of time focusing on the solution. And I know that if you look into your heart and you think closely, not think, like you feel it, you can feel a lot of instances in your life that you have spent a little too much time finding the perfect course, the perfect information, doing the perfect research, building the perfect system, building the perfect process, the perfect team, and not actually using the tools you already have to take massive action. And you already have enough. But it's that desire of certainty that if you have the perfect thing, for sure you're going to achieve that result. But if you don't, you might fail. And that's scary. That's uncertain. But we need to start linking pleasure to variety, to that risk, to not know what is going to come up, because that's the beauty of life. If you already knew that you're going to hit that goal 100% of the times, always, some magic of life is going to be lost, okay? So that's part of the problem and also a hint of what we're going to work on. So we oftentimes also perceive and see that a lot of people around us are moving, making progress, taking actions. And if we have this issue that I'm talking about, we constantly feel that we're just almost ready to be that massive action taker, And we might be a massive action taker, but maybe we are taking that massive action, climbing the wrong ladder, or hitting the wrong targets that are not aligned who you truly are and through your true power and authenticity, to the life that you truly want to build. So you might be a massive action taker, but still you are procrastinating on what really matters to you, because you're just almost ready to make that shift, almost ready to focus on what you really want, but you are just building like enough preparation, whatever that preparation means for you, and you can stop, breathe deeply, and truly feel what that perfect preparation, that perfect sharpening of that axe means. What is that you feel that you need to be able to be ready to take that action that truly feels aligned, truly feels out of love. And oftentimes you just feel that you're almost ready, you're almost there, but it's just one more thing. You do that thing and then another thing appears, and you say, okay, I'm almost there. I'm going to just finish this and I'm going to be ready. You get it? There's something else. It's not a matter of being ready. It's a matter of taking that action. And okay, so let's just hit a little bit deeper into that issue so we really start associating pain into it. Okay, because that's going to be crucial to break out of it. So the longer you stay in that situation, that loop, the more that your identity locks into that. And you are going to start building an identity of someone that just prepares, of someone that just built the best systems, processes, and so on, but you're not going to identify to someone that actually takes those systems to build the life that you actually want to yourself. You might be building other people's dreams, and that's beautiful, that's great, but if it's not the contribution that you feel that is authentic for you, there's going to be something lacking. And your power, your drive, you know, that in life is going to reflect that. You're going to lack something, okay? And to be honest, I speak it from experience. I feel it too. And every time that you don't act, that you postpone it, that you procrastinate it, your brain, because this is something that comes from the neuroassociations, is going to learn constantly, every day, that actions equal threat, that actions equal something that I have to run away from. That action, and when I say action, I not necessarily mean feeling busy. I mean the right action. Action that is aligned, that is authentic, what you really want to build. That action that actually feels scary. If it's action in the comfort zone, that's not what I'm talking about here, okay? And the thing is that this compounds. And the more that you do it, the more preparation you feel that you need over time. And the more that you postpone it, the bigger that the fear of taking true action becomes. And it stacks constantly. But the thing that is key is that you're not lazy. You're not lazy. You're probably an action taker, like I am. But as I'm telling you, the actions in the comfort zone are not the ones that we need to actually work on right now. We are oftentimes just working hard, but in the wrong direction. And we feel, and we have trained our brain to feel still that we're making progress because we are making that axe so beautiful, so sharp. Look at how sharp my axe is, right? And it looks so pristine. You compare it with other axes, or maybe the ideal that you have in your mind of other people's axes, and you say, they don't have that sharp of an axe. And wait, when I'm ready, when I use this axe, I'm going to take down this tree 3 times faster than anyone in the world. And the ego starts building up, and you feel that you have the sharpest axe, and you start developing a sense of pride of having the best preparation. But actually you're not doing anything. And I say you, but I'm actually reflecting the way that I'm living right now in my life. I'm not doing anything, quote unquote, in the sense of what I truly want to build. And it feels progress, responsible in a way, but it's a trap, because it's not actually responding in the true way that is authentic and aligned. And to be fully transparent and to show you how real this issue is before presenting you with the solution, let me tell you how it manifests in my own life. So in my own life right now, and there are a lot of times in which I felt it, but let me tell you the most recent manifestation of this issue, because if I tell you from the beginning of my life, we're going to stay here for a very long time. So right now, how I'm feeling it is that I have 2 things maybe that are like the main things that I feel pulled or driven on my life. One is this type of work, Tony Robbins style, neuroassociation, neuroconditioning, and so on and so forth, to really find that drive, that true authenticity, alignment, and high power to take massive action. Like performance out of love and not out of fear. That really feels like inspiring, and I would really want to contribute on that and to make a living out of this. But I also feel very pulled towards being very prepared, really sharpening that axe. And right now, something that feels really cool for me, I really love technology and AI, is to build like an fully automated, beautiful, and super powerful AI agent that is basically like an AI assistant in which I can delegate to it everything that I want to, everything that a human can do in a computer, AI can do. So I really try to build that perfect axe in the sense of being able to have an AI agent that I can delegate all the operational stuff, the thing that I don't want to do, so I can really focus on what I actually want to do. But I've been ending into a vicious loop of feeling in that way, that I'm almost there. I just have to do that last thing and I will have it perfect. And when I get to that thing that I want to do, another idea comes to my mind. But maybe I need this other thing, because what if I started working and I forget how to build this thing that I'm about to build, because right now I have the context, but later I will forget. And maybe I can write it, but I'm not going to remember it in the richness that I have it right now in my brain. So maybe I just have to do it right now. Right now is the time. Then I do it. And that vicious cycles repeat. Then I think, okay, I did this, but I need the other thing, and so on and so forth. And I've been building this thing like a month right now. Something that I thought that it would take me like a week, or maybe at the beginning just 3-4 days. And I've been postponing to do this work, to build videos, to do outreach, to connect with people, and to do this type of work on myself that I'm telling you right now, which is doing several exercises that I'm going to really condition my nervous system into the instincts, into the drive that I really need to achieve the life that I want to achieve for me and the people that I love in my life. So that's the situation. And when I'm in that space of just sharpening the eye, but in the axe, sharpening the axe, but really in a perfectionistic way, it feels very stressful. It's not enjoyable. Also pay attention to the state. When I do it, I feel tense in my body. I'm not having fun. I'm not having a good time. So also think about that. You're not having a good time when you are so fixated in an obsessive way into having the perfect preparation and system, okay? And the state is key, because when you're in a beautiful state, you're going to feel so much powerful and you're going to be much more effective. It's not just because it's fun. It's because being in a beautiful state is the most effective way to be an action taker and a high performer. Okay, high performer. Know that's a key learning. Okay, so things that you might think is, for example, preparation is important. Well, we just need to get to the point that it's sharp enough to cut, but not perfect enough to display, so that we compare and that it basically fills or enlarges our ego. No, that's not needed. Okay, maybe you feel that I need more confidence, that is going to be certain that I'm going to achieve the result that I want, because right now I feel so uncertain. Well, actually, confidence comes after action and not before it. That's key. We need to understand that confidence and beautiful states in general comes from repeated action with a strong enough emotion. Repeated action and strong enough emotion. We are not going to get confidence without action. And you might also think, I'll start when timing is right. That feeling never comes, and that's basically the trap, okay? And now, I haven't gone yet to that space of a beautiful state in which I could say to you, this is solved on myself. No. But I want to document basically me solving this to myself and to share it with you. But you at this point might think, okay, bro, but I understand this problem is so painful, so bad. I see why I've been brainwashing myself without being conscious that I have been doing it, into an obsession on preparation. But how I break through that loop, I break that pattern, how I break it, because you tell me that is not just thinking through it, and that's the way that I live my life. But what else is beyond reason, beyond thought? Is there something else that I can use as a tool? Yeah, there are some tools. There are a huge toolbox that we can use for these type of things. And I wanna, with several videos, share several with you, but right now I'll share with you some tools in my figurative toolbox. So let me bring it in and let me tell you some. One that is going to be very, very, very useful is from Tony Robbins. And right now is the guy that I'm actually learning this stuff from. Is the Dickens Process. That is super useful, and basically is to shift your neuroassociation. Right now, your nervous system is associating pleasure and apparent gain, a gain that is not true, it's just an illusion, an apparent gain, into obsessing on preparation, and you're associating pain, more pain, on taking action. And that is basically instinctual, sort of, right now. Is conditioned. Maybe the word is not instinctual, not sure how to call it, but it's something that is conditioned on you. Okay? And basically what we need to do in the Dickens process, and by the way, the way that the Dickens process, the idea comes from a movie, I forgot the name, but it's basically a guy that is very rude at work and treats people very badly. And that guy basically associated pleasure on treating people badly, because associated the beautiful, great abundance he got, financial, in his work with he being rude and bad with people. And of course, associating the opposite with basically being kind. He associated pain of being kind because he thought being kind is going to hurt his performance and results. So in that movie, there were like 3 ghosts, or I don't know how many to be honest, but there were some ghosts that appeared to him at night, and he experienced through those ghosts tons of pain, a lot of pain on that negative pattern, on being rude and bad with people. Pain in the past, pain in the present, pain 10 years from now, pain 20 years from now, pain 30 years from now. Basically, he saw how much pain on him, on other people, on the people he cared about, on the things that he cared about, actually that behavior actually brought to his life. And then the opposite, pleasure, on the positive pattern that he needs to actually incorporate in his life. A lot of pleasure in the past, present, future, and so on. So basically, that process is very simple. We need to do that, but we need to become those ghosts, but to ourselves. And it needs to be very vivid. It needs to be not from here, from the brain, or not just mental, but we need to make it use all our senses. We need to see it, really imagine it vividly. We need to feel it in our touch. We need to feel it in our body, like use our posture. You know, we need to experience it as vividly as possible. So, for example, if we are basically anchoring pain to over preparing, we need to think on all the ways that over preparing is basically for myself. Bring me so much pain, and I start maybe to see myself doing all that preparing, and to decide actually not getting that impact that I want to create on sharing my truth with people, on actually I'm right now working with a business coach and results coach, and basically in last call I told him that I didn't actually make any progress on the actions that I told him that I want to make. So actually seeing that and disappointing myself, disappointing him, and maybe going even further before, like when I was a child, when I was maybe so fixated, when I was studying illustration, and I was maybe so fixated on getting the perfect perspective practice and lines, steady hand practice, and this type of work that is not actually what I want to do. I want to create characters and build basically characters with personality and learn about color and those type of stuff. But I didn't do it because I wanted to have the perfect fundamentals. So seeing myself losing all of that beautiful time that I could have experienced drawing characters, and that I didn't do it that much, and I wasn't that good at the end on the things that I actually care about. I remember seeing another guy when I was in a course of animation, 2D animation, that was very cool. And I saw a guy that drew characters so good, so fast, and so beautifully, and feeling, a sense of being jealous, a sense of, oh my god, what I've been doing, all this practice, why I'm not there yet, and that disappointment of actually not putting on the reps that actually were the right actions. So seeing that very clearly, feeling yourself in that moment, experiencing in your body, like your chest down, your breathing constrained, tense in your body, like your brain needs to associate tons and tons of pain into over preparing, onto sharpening the axe beyond just making the axe able to cut the tree. You know what I mean? And you do it in the past, in the present, the way that in the present is causing you pain vividly, in 5 years from now, then 10 years from now, then 20 years from now, then 30 years from now. And you stack the pain and you make it as intense as possible. The more the pain, the better, because then your brain, your nervous system is going to repel, your body physically is going to repel that negative pattern, and it's going to become instinctual. You're not going to have to use willpower, so that's very cool. Quick example, there's also an example of Tony Robbins that is very useful that comes to my mind. He said that he doesn't drink, and no moral judgment at all into that. Is just an example of creating neuroassociations. And why he said that is because he had he said a mother that was expert on neuroassociation. Her mother doesn't wanted him to drink, and he brought to him like I don't know, a lot of beers, and he wanted to drink. And she told him, okay, so if you want to drink, you have to drink all of these beers at once without stopping. And he said, yeah, of course, I'll do it. And then he started. The first experience of the first beer, it was like, I don't like this. But she said, okay, but go ahead, keep going. And he kept going. And at the point, I really don't like this. I want to stop. I'm not going to drink more. And her mother said, you have to do it, keep going. And he vomited, and she actually made him do it, and he made him finish the whole thing. It was a horrible experience. And you know what happened? His nervous system associated so much pain into drinking that actually he gets a physical reaction on drinking, on that type of stuff. It's not a moral judgment onto that. It's just trying to give you an example of the power of neuroassociation. It doesn't become a matter of willpower yet, and we need to use that to our advantage, okay? And then basically you do the opposite, but for pleasure. So to keep this video a little bit not overly lengthy, you get the idea. You just do the opposite on pleasure. But there's something that will help you to create like more space for your nervous system to receive that new positive pattern when you associate pleasure better. And that's like a step in between. That is basically interrupt the pattern, and that's probably a different technique. If you after associated so much pain into the negative pattern, you also can interrupt that negative pattern. And basically I'm going to explain it a bit more in the next video, but basically you have to do something that is so absurd, that is so out of place when you are actually imagining yourself making that negative pattern in a very vivid way. Because it's like you have like those old CDs and DVDs, and you start actually playing it, but then you stop it with your hand, and maybe it scratches a little bit, and then you try to make it play, you stop it, you move it, then it scratches, and you keep doing that until the point that that DVD or CD no longer reproduces itself. It's like in your brain you have a lot of different neural connections. That negative pattern is a pathway in your brain that you have been actually doing or executing so many times that it has become so strong. But if you start that pathway and in the middle of it, you actually shift that pattern, you change it, then it interrupts itself, and your brain says, okay, so when I start this pathway, I thought that it ends here, but you're telling me that it ends in another place? I'm confused. So let me try it again, because I have done this for years. So I think that it actually ends in the original place that I always have thought, that is the negative pattern. You start again in the power of your imagination that is very vivid, that negative pattern, and then you probably interrupt it and change it into another absorbed, out of place way, and then your brain goes, okay, this is strange. And you keep doing that. For example, let's say that I have that over preparing pattern, and I imagine myself being at my desk in my computer, seeing that AI agent thing, and having that feeling in my chest of anxiety, and really wanted to do that one more thing that is going to make it just perfect for me to start taking the action that I want to take. And then maybe I see something very absurd, like something that helps me, something very fun and outrageous, like the minions, like those characters, the minions, like saying achibata, and appearing on my computer and jumping out of my computer and maybe jumping on me and doing twinkling or making me laugh or stuff like that, and I laugh out loud, and then yeah, it becomes very silly. Or maybe you start seeing that memory of you being very obsessed and preparing yourself, but see it backwards. Start at the end and see it backwards. That's called the eraser technique. And basically what you're going to do is to put funny music, move it like 2x speed, maybe put circus funny music, and make it black and white, make it full color but silly colors and stuff like that, and do it again and again and again and again a lot of times. We're going to do that in the next video, and I'm going to show you live how it looks on me, and I'm going to try to say out loud what is happening. But that's the principle. It's just something very stupid. For example, stupid, I don't mean that is not effective. With stupid, I mean something that is so absurd, okay? That's what I meant. And for example, in UPW, that is a beautiful event of Tony Robbins, he did that process, and the interruption he did is something like this. We imagine starting that negative pattern in our brain very vividly, and then we put our hand like this on our nose, and we said, bullshit. And then we said the positive pattern, or bullshit. I'm not like that, I'm like this, or I'm like this. I'm actually a massive action taker. When you imagine you're being an over-preparing guy, that you just sharpen the axe again and again and you don't take action, and you're, bullshit, I'm a massive action taker. I take action. And you do it again, and you, or, I think that I remember it better. The negative pattern, imagine that is, I'm a perfectionistic, over-preparing guy. And you say, I'm a perfectionistic, over-preparing guy because I'm so scared about what might happen. Bullshit! Like, saying it in a so silly way. You have to say that negative pattern out loud, but associating so much absurdity to it that you're just removing all seriousness out of it. You're making it so silly. You see what I mean? Okay. Next video I'm going to show you in a concrete way, but there are a lot of ways that you can apply that. For example, let's say that you have the limiting belief that you are not enough because you are boring in social circles and you don't know how to network. For example, something that comes out of my mind. So you go and say, oh my God, I'm not enough because I'm so boring when I talk to people. And you made yourself laugh or something like that. And when you do that, your brain goes, okay, but this is something serious or not? I don't understand, because my whole life I've been thinking that this is a serious issue. But this guy is just joking out of this. So I'm confused. And you keep doing that, and basically your brain, those neural pathways that were the negative pattern, break. They become that DVD that you scratch, and they no longer reproduce. And that's key, because it's not longer going to happen. You just broke it, and then you open the space to basically do that same technique of imagining the past, the present, the future, but now with beautiful, positive pattern. The beautiful, positive pattern that you want to implement into yourself, to condition yourself into doing that. After interrupting the negative pattern, you are just open. You're like a vacuum ready to receive And you do that process with the positive pattern. Imagine very vividly in the past, actually as if you always were a massive action taker. Imagine all those results that you were getting. How you felt so expansive, so powerful. Say yeah, use your body. And do it in the present. In 5 years, 10 years, the life you're going to build in all the areas of your life, your finances, your relationships, the love that you have, your abundance, the wisdom, the impact, the contribution. Yeah. And 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you got it, bro. And that's the process. And remember, repetition plus emotion basically conditions yourself. So it's not just doing it once, it's a lot of times. And it's conditioning because it's like the gym, you have to do it also constantly. If you really immerse yourself doing this very intensely a lot, you are going to actually make that shift, okay? To basically go beyond that threshold in which it becomes instinctual and you don't have to use willpower, but you have to still maintain it from time to time. Again, doing this exercise, especially conditioning, well, just doing the exercise. I was going to say especially the positive part, but I don't know, I'm not an expert. So maybe associating pain into the negative pattern again and again is also going to be positive, because there's a principle. We are much more driven and moved to avoid pain. So that's why the first part of the exercise is so crucial. We are much more moved to avoid pain than to seek pleasure. Okay, so keep that in mind too. So it's something very important to keep associating pain into the negative patterns that are actually hurting or affecting negatively our authenticity, our alignment, and our high performance, you know, our massive actions. Beautiful. So yeah, later I'm going to show you a live exercise of me basically doing that. So yeah, now this week something that you could do, because we need to become massive action takers, is basically ship some imperfect thing. This is my action that I'm doing right now. This video is not perfect, it's just me talking out loud. So ship it, do something that is actually out of your comfort zone. That is something that you're scared about doing, but you feel in your heart that is aligned with your soul, with your being, with your whole authenticity, with who you actually want to be. Okay? And do it with massive action, high performance. Not like perfectionistic, tense, and being so fixated into making it perfect or great. Just ship it. Of course, don't half-ass it. But I think that your problem is not being mediocre. I think that your problem is just actually taking action. So yeah, you're not going to half-ass it. Okay? And please, please, please comment below public commitments. You know, you're basically, what are you committing to taking action? And public commitment actually activates your brain differently, creates neuroassociations differently, and it's much easier like that to take action. You know that, okay? And if you find this useful, share it with somebody that you feel that it has been almost ready for too long. Might help him. And yeah, subscribe to follow the experiment that I'm going to show you in next video live. And yeah, the sharp is sharp enough. The axe is sharp enough. Let's go. Bye bye.